Hello guys, welcome to biology. This is biology lesson 9. In today's lesson we will be looking at the topic that we started previously on nutrients. Alright, so today we are going to look at mineral salts. So what are mineral salts? Mineral salts, we are saying these are organic or inorganic substances that are required by the body in small amounts, and their absence causes serious deficiency diseases. So these are the inorganic substances that are required by the body in small amounts, and their absence causes serious deficiency diseases. So they are absorbed into the body in form of ions. All right, so they function as the enzyme activators. That's what they do, these mineral salts. When they're in the body, they function as the enzyme activators. And the following table gives the example or major mineral required in our bodies. All right. So now we have this table here, and this table gives us the major minerals required in our body. So here we have the name of the minerals, here the source of the mineral, here the function of the mineral, then here we have the deficiency disease or symptoms of that mineral when it is not provided in our diet. All right, so let's begin with iodine. So iodine, its source is iodized table salt, also seafoods. All right, so what is iodized table salt? Iodized table salt is the salt that we use as we put to our relish, the one that we buy in ShopRite supermarkets. That salt contains iodine, and hence it is called iodized table salts. So that's where we find the iodine, and also in seafoods. And its function is that it is in the formation of the thyroxine hormone. So the thyroxine hormone is a hormone that helps in the development of our body, in growth and coordination of our body. And lack of iodine causes a disease called the goiter. And the symptom of goiter is that one will have swollen thyroid gland leading to swollen neck. All right, so if a person is suffering from goiter, then you will see a swollen neck. And what causes the neck look swollen is because the thyroid gland, which is found in the neck, gets swollen because the body lacks iodine. All right, so also in children, we see that it causes also retarded growth or mental development in children. So lack of iodine in children causes retarded growth or retarded mental development, and this retarded growth is called the cretinism. All right, so let's move to phosphorus. So phosphorus is found in milk, cheese, butter, egg, yolk, liver, etc. And its function is in the formation of bones and teeth, also in the making or synthesis of proteins, and also in the formation of adenosine triphosphate ATP. And the lack of phosphorus causes rickets due to weak bones leading to poor bone formation. All right, so lack of phosphorus in somebody's diet can lead to rickets, which is the bending of the children, because the bones are soft and the bones are not able to withhold the weight of the child because they are actually soft, and then causes the legs to bend. That is what we call rickets. All right, so another mineral salt required by our body is calcium, and it comes from milk, smoked fish, etc. And its function also is in the formation of bone and teeth, and also blood clotting and muscle contraction. So it helps in the formation of bone and teeth, blood clotting, and muscle contraction. And its deficiency in our body results also in crickets in children and badly formed teeth due to softy bones. And then the next mineral salt required by our body is fluorine, and it is found in drinking water. How does it come to our drinking water? It comes to our drinking water during the purification of water by any water processing company. For example, in Zambia, the water processing company that we have is Water and Sewerage. So during the processing of the water, deliberately fluorine is added, and it is added because it helps in the hardening of bonds, and also in making sure that bonds do not get decay. All right, so we are saying its function is that it's a component of bones and the teeth. All right, its deficiency leads to bad teeth and weak bones. Sometimes we can even have a teeth decay. Here fluorine is also found in toothpaste as well, so that as we brush, then the toothpaste is able to be absorbed in our bones so that they become strong, as well as they also get prevented from decaying. All right, so let's move a bit with this table. All right, now we are looking at copper. Copper also is another mineral required by our body, and its source is that it comes from majority of foods eaten. So the majority of food that we eat contains copper, and its function is that hemoglobin formation. It is in the hemoglobin formation and other pigments, also activation of some energy. So hemoglobin is a red pigment found in red blood cells that helps to transport oxygen throughout the body. So the formation of hemoglobin requires copper. That's why copper is very important in our diet, and lack of copper causes a deficiency disease called anemia, and the symptoms are that there will be tiredness and weakness due to lack of full red blood cells, resulting in shortness of breath. So if there's not enough red blood cells because we do not have enough copper, then we will suffer from anemia, which is lack of enough blood as well. And also the symptom are that we will have tiredness and weakness because we will not have red blood cells to transport enough oxygen to our body to produce the much needed energy. All right, so such a person will have problem and will experience shortness of breath. All right, another mineral important to our body is iron, and its source is liver, beef, egg yolk, millet, green vegetables, etc. And its function is in the formation of hemoglobin, and also deficiency of iron results in a disease called anemia and tiredness due to lack of red blood cells. All right, resulting in shortness of breath. Another required mineral in our body is sodium, which is found in green vegetables and table salt as well. So our table salt is also called sodium chloride. All right, and its function is in the maintenance of body fluids, blood, lymph, transmission of impulses. So our body contains fluids, which is actually plasma and water-like, and that fluid also need to be maintained at that level by sodium. And also in blood and also lymph are also some of the hormone processing organs, and also sodium helps in the transmission of impulses or information in our bodies, and its deficiency results in paralysis and poor nervous transmission. So most people that lack these, they are not sensitive even when they are touched, because the transmission of information is impaired if they do not have sodium. Another important mineral is potassium, And potassium is found also in green vegetables and salt, and also its function is in the transmission of nerve impulses, and also its deficiency results in paralysis and poor nervous transmission. All right, so the next mineral required by our body is nitrogen, and its source is the majority of foods eaten, e.g. green vegetables, beef, egg, seeds, etc. And its function is in the synthesis of proteins, formation of cells, tissue structures, etc., hair, nails, etc. And then lack of nitrogen causes also retarded growth due to reduced synthesis of proteins. You know, proteins are very vital for growth and also repair of worn out tissues. All right, next we look at water as also a nutrient. All right, so water, what is water? We are saying it is an inorganic molecule made of the elements hydrogen and oxygen. Its chemical formula is H2O. All right, uses of water. The uses of water are that as a universal solvent, water is a solvent in which the substances needed by the body are dissolved and transported. So water is known as the universal solvent because it is able to dissolve most of the substances in the world or even in the universe. So because of that, it is called the universal solvent. Now, as a universal solvent, water it helps to dissolve substances in our body, and the substances, as they get transmitted or transported from one place to another, they do so in water. All right, so another use is that water is used in the thermal regulation of to cool the body and what when it gets hot, and also helps distribute body heat from active organs. So here we are saying water is used in thermal regulation to cool the body when it gets hot, and also helps distribute body heat from active organs. So here what is being explained is that our body is helped to be cooled by water. So when you get enough heat in your body, the result that you see is sweating. So water is really transporting heat from the active parts of the body, like the muscles that are working actively producing heat, and that heat is not needed by the body. Then it is transmitted from inside the body to outside of the body through water, and that is the water we see coming out as a sweat. All right, that's how water helps to cool the body. All right, another use of water is that water is used in digestion of large molecules into smaller ones in a process called the hydrolysis. So hydrolysis is the process of breaking down large molecules using water. So water helps in digestion when breaking of large molecules is taking place. All right, another use of water is that water is used as a component of body fluids such as saliva, blood, lymph, etc. So you see, our blood is fluid like because it contains water. We have saliva because it is water like, and then we have lymph that is also water like. Then another use of water is that water makes up the hydrostatic skeleton in some organisms. So there are some organisms that do not have a skeleton structure as we have as human beings. So those animals like the worms, they have a skeleton that is strengthened because of the water that is in the organism, and such kind of skeleton is called hydrostatic skeleton. All right, so from water we move now to roughage or dietary fiber as a nutrient. So what is roughage or dietary fiber? We are saying this is the indigestible part of the diet made of cellulose. So in our diet, as we consume our food, we are supposed to have the nutrient called roughage, and this roughage, when we eat it, it does not get digested. All right, so which kind of food can provide us with the roughage? It's actually vegetables. Mainly vegetables are able to provide us with the roughage. All right, so what is the function of roughage? So roughage stimulates the intestinal lining to secrete digestive enzymes or juice. So these roughages, they help the intestines to secrete those digestive enzymes that help digestion. The next, roughage aids in movement of food along the gut by peristalsis, hence prevents constipation. So when we consume food, it has to be digested, and then if nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream, the undigested materials has to be gotten out of the body. So that food, if we do not have enough roughage, then the food won't be gotten rid of our bodies, and we may suffer from constipation, which is in the stomach getting filled up with the foods. All right. However, because of roughage, this roughage helps in the movement of food out of the body along the gut or the intestine and the large intestine out of the body, and the process by which this food moves is called the peristalsis. All right, so from here now we move to vitamins as the nutrients. So what are vitamins? Vitamins are organic substances only needed in small amounts in the body to perform specific functions. All right, so let's look at types of vitamins. So we have vitamin A, which is also known as retinol, vitamin B, vitamin C, which is also known as ascorbic acid, then vitamin C, which is also known as calciferol, and then we have vitamin E and also vitamin K. All right, so let's look at the table here, which gives us various vitamins and their sources, their functions, and the deficiency in vitamin, what it can do. So let's start with vitamin A. Its source is yellow fruits such as pawpaw, mangoes, and also vegetables, liver, egg yolk, carrots, butter, cheese, and milk. All right, then its function, vitamin A, is in the formation of visual purple in the eyes. So when we are looking at the colored things that have got even a purple color, what helps us to see is the vitamin A, which helps us in the formation of visual color purple in the eyes. Also to keep the lining of the gut, nose, and etc. So the lining or the surface inside the nose and also inside the alimentary canal, to keep it as it were, we need also vitamin A. All right, then deficiency in vitamin A can cause poor night visions or night blindness. So people won't be able to see clearly during dark time or at night if they lack vitamin A. Also, there will be unhealthy skin or dry skin, and there will be sore eyes, and then reduced resistance to diseases, and also there will be frequent cold and respiratory diseases. All right, so we move to vitamin B. Vitamin B, the sources are wheat, sorghum, millet, rice, beans, groundnuts, peas, tomatoes, yams, fresh green vegetables, liver, egg, yolk, meat, and the kidney. Its function, vitamin D, is in normal heart functioning and nervous system, as well as in normal skin health and also formation of hemoglobin. It also helps in a normal cell respiration, and the deficiency of vitamin D causes this disease called belly, retarded growth, skin disorder, sores in the mouth, then a disorder in the nervous system, also disorder of the digestive system, and also low number of red blood cells. All right, so if we do not have vitamin B, these are the consequences that we are going to suffer. Next, we look at the vitamin C, which is also known as ascorbic acid, and it comes from fresh fruits such as lemons, oranges, mango, vegetables, spinach, etc. And its function is that it increases resistance to diseases, so helps us to resist the diseases, and also fast wound healing, and also development of strong bones and teeth, and also formation of vessels. All right, so deficiency in this one causes gum bleeding, and this gum bleeding disease is known as scurvy. So if a person is bleeding and comes a lot, then they have a disease that we call scurvy, caused by lack of vitamin C. And also another deficiency is slow wound healing. So wounds won't be healing fast or quick because of lack of vitamin C. All right, and also another deficiency disease is anemia, which is lack of blood, and also another deficiency will be reduced resistance to disease. So such people will always be getting sick now and then because protection against diseases is reduced for lack of vitamin C. All right, so let's move to another part of the table and look at vitamin D, known as kwashiorkor, and its source is the egg yolk, butter, oils, groundnuts, liver, fish, milk. Exposure to sunlight as well helps to get some vitamin C, and function of vitamin D, is in the absorption of calcium and phosphorus from the intestine into the bloodstream. So vitamin D really helps us to absorb calcium and phosphorus from the intestine into the bloodstream. All right, so another function is in the hardening of teeth and the bones, and deficiency in vitamin D causes also rickets, which is weak bones in children, and soft bones. Next, we move to vitamin K, and the sources of vitamin K are vegetables such as cabbage, spinach, and also tomato, egg yolk, liver, and polished cereals, e.g. rice. And then the function of vitamin K is that it is essential for formation of prothrombin, which brings about blood clotting in case of injury. So we need vitamin K for blood clotting or hardening of blood. When someone injures him or herself, then you notice that the blood usually clots or solidifies. So the solidification of blood to stop it from bleeding further is what we call clotting. And there's a substance called prothrombin that helps in blood clotting, and that is formed by the use of vitamin K. And lack of vitamin K leads to an individual experiencing prolonged bleeding or blood delays to clot. So if you have seen individuals whose blood does not clot quickly, then it means they are lacking vitamin K in their bodies. All right, then the other vitamin here is vitamin E, and its source is green vegetables, vegetable oils, plant oils, groundnuts, milk, egg yolk, liver. And its function, this vitamin E, is that it helps normal cell metabolism, and also normal fertility in some animals, especially rats. All right, and its deficiency brings about the destruction of red blood cells in infants. All right, so we are done with the nutrients. Now let's move to another subtopic known as the dietary needs of different people. So you understand different people of society, they have different dietary needs. So let's look at what the diet is first. So what is the diet? We are saying the diet is the kinds of food that a person, animal, or community habitually eats. So the type of food a person eats is known as a diet or diet. All right, so we are saying different groups of people require different dietary needs. All right, so different groups of people will require different dietary needs. Factors affecting dietary needs of people includes activity. So the more activity an individual does, then the more actually will have a certain type of diet that is able to move along with the activities they're doing. E.g., let's say we have sedentary workers. What are sedentary workers? So these we call them office workers, like such as doctors, tailors, clerks, porters. These that do not actually use energy when they're doing their work. All right. So manual workers. No. This was an error. So they're not supposed to be manual workers. All right. So not manual workers. Manual workers are not sedentary workers. All right. So now, what we're saying here is that these oh, sorry. So I understand now why I placed that one here. Sorry. So now we are saying activity is one of the factors that demands that people have got different diets, all right, or dietary needs. For example, these sedentary workers, such as these office workers, doctors, tailors, clerks, porters, these they will have their own diet, and then manual workers also will have their own diet, all right. So sedentary workers don't require a lot of energy giving foods because their work does not require using a lot of energy, while manual workers here their work requires that they use a lot of power from their body, and that power must be provided by more protein rich foods, right? So it will now bring that difference in diet of these groups of individuals. So another factor is age. So age, we are talking of e.g. children and the elderly. So children would demand that they will require a different diet because they are growing, and then elderly people, especially those that are aged, will require another type of diet because maybe them growing has stopped. Maybe they need other types of food to continue, boosting their immunity. All right, another factor that affects dietary needs, is sex. And sex, e.g. female and male, you find that the amount of foods and type of foods that the male folks feed on may be different from that of the female folk as well. All right. So another factor is body size. E.g., we are talking of pregnant woman here. A pregnant woman now, because of their nature of their body, will have demand a different dietary need. All right. Another thing is health of the person. So the health of the person, e.g., sick persons here will require that they feed on a special diet. All right. So all different groups of people require a balanced diet. What is a balanced diet? We are saying a balanced diet is a type of diet which consists of all types of food in correct amount. So if you have if a diet is to be balanced, then it should contain all the types of food that are needed by the body in correct amounts. All right. So let us look at the dietary needs for pregnant women. So we are saying pregnant women need extra proteins for making baby tissues. You see, because proteins are required for body building and repair. So a mother who is pregnant requires those proteins so that the baby that is getting formed in their womb starts growing as the mother provides those proteins. Also, the mother requires enough calcium and vitamin D for bone development of the baby there, as the baby is growing, needs bones for the baby to be a normal human being. All right. Then 3, iron for formation of hemoglobin in baby's blood. You know, hemoglobin is a part of red blood cells. So that hemoglobin must be formed from iron, and the mother needs to eat so that the child can also have enough red blood cells. All right, so let's move to dietary needs for breastfeeding mothers. So we are saying during lactation, which is the process of producing milk. When mothers are breastfeeding, we also say they're in a lactating stage because their breasts are able to allow milk to come out. So we are saying during lactation, women need extra proteins, vitamins, and calcium to produce milk of adequate quality and quantity to the body so that the child actually get to grow well with all the needed vitamins, proteins, and then the rest of the things needed. All right, so let's move to the dietary needs for growing children. So we are saying growing children require extra proteins for making new tissues as they grow. So children, since they are growing, they need more proteins to continue making tissues for them to continue growing in size and also tall and also mass. All right, then they require calcium and vitamin D for growing bones and also iron for their red blood cells and also vitamin A for disease resistance. All right, then they also require carbohydrates for energy used up during vigorous activities they are involved in. So children, they are most of the time found playing, so they need carbohydrates, which provides energy to accommodate the energy needed for those activities they are engaged in. So let's look at now the dietary needs for sedentary workers, those office workers we talked about. So these we are saying sedentary workers need food less in lipids. What are lipids? Fats, because they do not need a lot of energy, all right, to avoid also getting a disease known as obesity. All right, so they need to do exercises to reduce the risks of becoming obesity. So let's look at dietary needs for manual workers. So we are saying manual workers need the following foods: carbohydrates and lipids for energy. Then they also need proteins to repair damaged muscles and keep muscle strength or keep muscles strong. All right, so let's look at the dietary needs for the sick. So we are saying the sick persons require more vitamins, they require more proteins, they also require more carbohydrates. So vitamins so that they help them to heal, proteins to repair worn out tissues, and also carbohydrates for energy production. All right, so the sick people require nutrients to help in the recovery from their illness. Now let's look at the dietary needs for the aged people. So we are saying aged people need the following foods: proteins for repair of worn out tissues, then little carbohydrates for movement and breathing, then a lot of vitamins and mineral salts to boost the immune system, and then fats to act as shock absorbers around organs such as the heart, lungs, and the liver. Now let's look at the malnutrition. What is malnutrition? Malnutrition is the getting of too little or too much of a certain nutrient or of certain nutrients. So malnutrition or unbalanced diet causes food deficiency diseases such as marasmus and kwashiorkor. So we are saying marasmus is a carbohydrates deficiency disease. So lack of carbohydrate can cause marasmus and then the symptoms of marasmus can be seen in this baby here. All right, as you can see in this baby, we are seeing that the baby has got what we call wasted muscles, no muscles. In short, they are all gone, the muscles. Then what we are seeing is the child becomes thin, as you can see this child here, and then a wrinkled body like the skin of an old person. This kid here looks like an old person indeed. and then stunted growth, which means the child now does not grow. All right, so marasmus can only be cured through the provision of carbohydrates in the diet. So this baby is likely to recover if the diet provided contains more carbohydrates as well as small amount of proteins. All right, so another kwashiorkor, we are saying kwashiorkor is a protein deficiency disease. So if a diet is not enough with proteins, then the person lacking the proteins may suffer from a disease called the kwashiorkor. It is a nutrient deficiency disease. All right, and the symptoms can be seen in this baby here, such as brown hair, and then the baby will have a big belly, and then will have swollen arms and the legs here. As you can see, they are swollen here. They are not as very thin, but they are really swollen, and then will have also stunted growth, and then the child lacks interest in the environment. Whenever they're in the environment, they really don't feel to enjoy it. All right, and then we are saying kwashiorkor can only be cured through the provision of proteins in the diet. All right, so now this picture now gives us a comparison between marasmus and kwashiorkor with this simple abbreviation when I talk of protein energy malnutrition. Protein, which is actually kwashiorkor, then energy, which is actually from carbohydrate, and this is abbreviated as PEM, protein energy malnutrition, which is the protein, actual protein kwashiorkor, and then energy carbohydrate. And then these, when children they don't have energy, they don't have proteins, then they'll suffer from these two diseases, kwashiorkor and the marasmus. This is the child suffering from kwashiorkor, how they look, and this is a child suffering, marasmus, that's how they look, and this child suffering from kwashiorkor, that's how they look. So we have come to the end of the lesson, guys. So see you in the next lesson. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you in the other lesson coming soon. As for now, bye.